If you look at the financial statements, more specifically the statement of profit and loss of any company, you'll find a segment of other comprehensive income. Now there is often confusion about what is OCI, what all items fall under OCI, and why there was a need to separate out the other comprehensive income instead of having one single profit and loss statement. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Raise Your Acumen. This is Harshal Patil, I am a chartered accountant, and in this video we'll understand the need for bifurcating the gains or losses into profit and loss and OCI. Before we begin, do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified about such short and informative content which will up your acumen. The current Ind AS or IFRS regime has brought in significant changes in the presentation of financial statements. For instance, now there is a statement of total comprehensive income, which comprises of profit and loss and other comprehensive income. The profit and loss statement summarizes the revenue from various sources and expenses of varied nature incurred during the specified period. With this information, the user is able to identify whether the company is able to generate profits or not. The statement of profit and loss usually includes items such as revenue, other income, finance cost, depreciation and amortization cost, impairment losses, tax expenses, and so on. Now all these items are considered while computing the profitability of the company. Now the question is that despite having a statement which reflected the profitability of the company, why there was a need to introduce total comprehensive income which comprised of profit and loss and other comprehensive income. If you observe the line items that are included in OCI, such as changes in revaluation surplus in case of property, plant and equipment or intangible assets, or remeasurement of defined benefit plans, that is actual gain or losses, or gain or loss arising from foreign exchange translation, or gain or loss arising on measurement of financial asset at FVTOCI, and so on. You will notice that all these items are unrealized gains or losses, which may lead to a conclusion that all unrealized gains or losses are classified as other comprehensive income. However, this thought process is not correct. Let us take an example to show that all unrealized gains are not necessarily part of other comprehensive income. So under IAS 16 or Ind AS 16, which is on property, plant and equipment, revaluation gains on land and buildings are recognized as OCI and accumulated in other equity. Whereas under IAS 40 or Ind AS 40, which is on investment properties, revaluation gains on land and buildings are recognized in profit and loss and accumulated in retained earnings. Now in both these scenarios, the revaluation gain is unrealized. So this leads to the question as to what is other comprehensive income. As per IAS 1 or Ind AS 1, which is on presentation of financial statements, other comprehensive income comprises of items of income or expenses that are not recognized in profit and loss. Now this simply implies that an item should be classified in OCI only if a standard has a requirement or it permits that item to be classified under OCI. This still somehow does not justify the classification of an item into OCI. This issue was finally addressed by International Accounting Standards Board when they revised and released the conceptual framework for financial reporting. This framework suggested that the statement of profit and loss should provide the primary source of information which is relevant or provides more faithful representation of entity's financial performance for the reporting period. This means that the shareholders or the users get an actual look at the profits and are generally not misled by unrealized gains or losses which have an impact due to market condition and have nothing to do with company performance. While this may be an improvement on the absence of general principles, it might be argued that it does not provide the clarity and certainty that the users crave. But for now, we will have to make do with this clarification. Now there is also a process wherein items classified under OCI are subsequently reclassified to profit and loss. This process is called as a reclassification process. Under this process, gain or loss are initially recognized in OCI and then in subsequent periods are reclassified to profit and loss. These reclassification adjustments happen as and when the conditions mentioned in accounting standards are triggered. For instance, IAS 21 or Ind AS 21 requires gains or losses on exchange differences on translation of foreign subsidiaries books to be recognized as OCI and accumulate in other equity. And on disposal of the foreign subsidiary, the standard says that the net cumulative balance of the exchange difference is to be reclassified from other equity to profit and loss. So this was all about the concepts or the logics used in bifurcating items into profit and loss and other comprehensive income. Check out the links in the description relating to conceptual framework and related articles for more clarity. This is it from my end. Hope you found this useful. Please do like and share this video and do subscribe to my channel. Feel free to drop in your queries and suggestions in the comment box below. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Check out the description for the profile link. Thanks for watching.